Incredible journey, veteran discovers K9 tied to a tree in the snow. What happens next is touching. Tom Johnston stood in his snow-piled driveway, inhale, exhale, and push away memories that weighed like lead. The bleary gray sky mirrored his mood on this biting winter afternoon in his small, Midwest town. This was supposed to be a cozy season, but retirement had become a frigid reminder of loneliness. A forlorn figure in a parka, he grasped the snow shovel as tightly as he once held his rifle, fighting against the memories that crept in like the icy wind. As he cleared a path, the haunting silence of the frozen landscape surrounded him. It felt too quiet, too empty. The shadows of his past service flickered in the corners of his mind. His daughter Ashley had been drifting further away, chasing dreams of becoming an artist while he felt trapped in a Siberian winter of regret and heartache. He wanted to reconnect, to bridge that chasm, but pride kept him rooted in stubborn isolation. Suddenly, he paused. A faint whimper broke the stillness. He squinted against the snow, heart racing. There, tied to a tree behind the barn, was a shaking K9, trembling against the cold. A jolt of urgency surged through him. The dog's fur was matted and dirty, eyes wide with fear and distrust abandoned. He rushed forward and gently untied the trembling creature, whispering soft reassurances. "Easy now, buddy. You're safe." As the dog leaned into him, Tom felt warmth flooding back into his bones, illuminating the dark spots in his heart. He decided on the name Rusty, a tribute to the dog's rusty coat and their shared fight to overcome hardship. Tom felt a flicker of purpose, igniting a flame he feared had been snuffed out forever. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But Rusty's arrival wasn't welcomed universally. Whispers of disapproval swirled among the townsfolk like snowflakes in a storm. "What's he doing taking in a stray?" they mumbled behind his back, their judgment stinging more than the cold. Helping a neglected animal when finances were already tight seemed foolish to them. Yet he clung to the idea that loyalty and compassion mattered more than appearances. He noticed how the space between him and Ashley grew wider with every passing day. Every call went unanswered, every message left unread. Couldn't she see he needed her? But how could he ask for help when he was still wrestling with his demons? Rusty, however, sat beside him, eager for affection, a bridge, perhaps, to fill the gaps left by misunderstanding. As winter raged on, both father and daughter remained trapped in their separate battles. Tom saw Rusty as a glimmer of hope, a living reminder of healing. Yet Ashley, embracing her dreams, seemed to slip further away. And then, inspiration struck Ashley. Using her talent as an artist, she organized a community event focused on abandoned pets, reflecting both her creativity and her desire to connect with her dad. This scattered hope hung in the air like the snowflakes falling outside, each one a small moment of possibility. But could both father and daughter rid themselves of their pride and allow the warmth of family to fill the void? As Tom watched the first snowflakes gather on Rusty's back, a question fluttered in his heart: could this winter finally bring them back together, or would their separate paths lead to a distance too vast to bridge? One thing was certain: it was time to make a choice before winter gave way to spring. Tom stared into the swirling white outside, his breath visible in the frozen air. Rusty, now a firm presence by his side, seemed to sense the tension in his chest. The dog nuzzled against his leg, grounding him in that moment, urging him to shake off the specters of self-doubt. Perhaps this event that Ashley was organizing could be the start of something new, a catalyst for the connection he so desperately longed for. He paced the small living room, glancing at his phone, hoping for a message or a call. Nothing. He needed to change the narrative. Maybe Ashley would see through her pride if he reached out first. It was time to take a step. But how could he draw her back into his world when his own heart felt heavy with words unspoken? As if reading his thoughts, Rusty trotted over to the door, tail wagging with curious anticipation. Tom chuckled, the sound surprising him. "All right, let us go for a walk, buddy," he said, grabbing the leash. Fresh air might just do them both some good. Outside, the landscape was beautiful in its starkness. The sun peeked through heavy clouds, casting a soft light on the blanketed ground. Tom watched Rusty explore, his spirit lifting as he saw the joy in the dog's flight. For a moment, he found solace in Rusty's carefree existence, an existence that, despite abandonment, thrived on trust and hope, traits he desperately wanted to reclaim for himself. They walked toward the town square, where the community event would soon take place. As they approached, Tom noticed posters flapping gently in the wind. "Adopt, don't shop," they proclaimed, alongside images of dogs with hopeful eyes. His heart raced. This could be the moment to bring Ashley back into his life, but would she even want to see him? He hesitated, but Rusty pressed forward, leading the way. It felt almost symbolic, as if the dog recognized a long-lost connection waiting to be rediscovered. Tom envisioned himself standing side by side with Ashley at the event, helping foster understanding and compassion in their community. What if they could channel their struggles into something positive together? At a booth preparing supplies for the event, Tom spotted his old friend David, who greeted him with surprise but genuine warmth. "Tom. Didn't he think I'd see you out here? Heard about the event, looks like it's shaping up nicely." "Yeah, it is," Tom replied, guilt twitching inside him at his earlier thoughts of isolation. "I'm just checking things out with Rusty." David's eyes lit up at the mention of the dog. "I heard you rescued him. That's incredible. A lot of folks have been talking about how great it is to see you helping out." This comment felt like a balm over Tom's concerns. Standing there, he felt a flicker of courage ignite within him. "I'm hoping it can help bring my daughter and me together again," he admitted softly. "We used to be so close, but families can heal, Tom. Just take it one step at a time," David said, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Tom nodded, taking a deep breath as a possibility opened in his heart. Suddenly, a few little voices pierced through the air, squealing with delight as they spotted Rusty. Children ran toward him, eager hands outstretched, wanting to pet the rescued dog. A warm feeling washed over Tom. Seeing Rusty loved and welcomed suddenly felt like a ripple of hope spreading in his chest. However, just as he turned to greet the cheerful kids, Tom caught a glimpse of Ashley walking toward him. Clutching a stack of flyers, her expression was one of surprise but also uncertainty. "Dad?" she called out, her voice barely above the excited chatter around them. Tom's heart thundered as Rusty broke free and bounded straight to her, tail wagging furiously. This was it, the moment of truth had arrived. Would she embrace the chance to reconnect or retreat, building another wall between them? "Hey! Look who I found!" he called, forcing a smile that held the weight of 1,000 unspoken words and years of distance. Her eyes met his, and in that instant, everything hung in the balance. The air thickened, ripe with anticipation. Would they find a way back to each other, or would the past hold them captive once more? Tom held his breath, watching Ashley as she processed the scene before her. The way her brows furrowed momentarily told him she was torn, surprised but unsure of what to do with the surprise. As Rusty danced around her, weaving between her legs, Tom felt his heart pound defiantly, urging him to take a step closer. "Ashley," he said, his voice a mix of eagerness and a tremor of vulnerability. "I'm really glad to see you." "It's been a while," she replied, her tone cautious but softer than he remembered. With each word, hope flickered, and her lips broke into the faintest hint of a smile, an invitation, or at least a glimmer of what could be. Rusty, oblivious to the tension, continued to nuzzle against Ashley's hand, begging for attention. That simple act seemed to remove a layer of ice from the scene. She knelt down, scratching behind his ears, and for a moment, it felt like everything else faded away: the crowd, the event, even the past that weighed heavily between them. "Is this your dog?" she asked, glancing up at Tom with curiosity glinting in her eyes. "Yeah, I found him a few weeks ago." "He's been a good friend," Tom replied, his heart swelling with pride. "I thought bringing him here could help with everything." Ashley studied him, her expression shifting, a mix of memories and guarded apprehension. "I heard about what you've been doing helping out at the shelter." "Trying to be better, to be more present," he admitted, taking a step forward, encouraged by the warmth in her gaze. "For you, and for us." The brief silence that followed felt both exhilarating and suffocating. He watched the wheels turn in her mind. He could almost see the walls she had built around herself starting to crack. But those walls had been reinforced with years of hurt and unspoken words, and he understood the battle she faced. "Things aren't easy, Dad," she finally said, her voice steady but edged with pain. "I don't know if just showing up will fix everything." "I'm not trying to fix it all at once," he replied, desperation creeping into his voice. "I just want the chance to try. Even if it's one step at a time." Rusty, sensing the heaviness in the air, pushed his nose into Ashley's palm, drawing a laugh from her that felt like fresh sunlight breaking through the clouds. It was fleeting, but it was there, a reminder of happier times. "You always wanted to save the world," she said, a hint of teasing in her tone. "Is this your new mission?" Tom chuckled, savoring the moment. "Maybe it's a start. I want to help save us too. Can we at least try?" Her eyes softened as they lingered on him, assessing, weighing each heartbeat of their shared history. "Let us see how today goes," she finally said. "One step at a time, right?" A wave of relief pushed through him, and he caught her gaze, eyes shimmering with something akin to hope. Just then, a flurry of movement erupted around them as more children swarmed Rusty, their laughter breaking the tension like a melody cutting through silence. While they watched the joyful chaos, Tom couldn't shake the feeling that this was the beginning of something, a choice made in the midst of uncertainty. But as he turned back to Ashley, he saw a shadow pass over her face, an unease creeping in. "Hey, Dad," she said suddenly, a hint of hesitation in her voice. "Can we talk later, maybe after the event? There's some stuff you should know." Tom felt his stomach drop, unease mixing with hope. "Of course. Whenever you're ready." As the laughter of the children continued, he realized that they were still a long way from mending their relationship, but he could feel a bridge slowly forming between them. But he also knew the weight of the conversation ahead. What else was she carrying? And as Rusty barked excitedly at a stray tennis ball, Tom watched Ashley's gaze drift into the crowd. The glint in her eye gave him pause. A new challenge was on the horizon. What truths lay beneath the surface, waiting to be unveiled? Tom felt his heart race as he watched Ashley pull her gaze away from him. She scanned the crowd, her expression shifting to one of deep contemplation. Rusty, ever the attentive companion, whined softly, snapping Tom back to the present. He reached down to ruffle the dog's fur, needing that simple connection to ground himself. The event continued around them, children giggling and parents chatting, but all Tom could think about was the weight behind Ashley's words. What could possibly be so urgent that she needed to talk later? His thoughts spiraled, reaching for implications he wasn't ready to face. "Ashley, is everything okay?" he asked, concern lacing his voice. She hesitated, her lips pressing together as if measuring her words. "Yeah, just complicated. You know how it gets." Complicated. The word hung in the air, heavy and foreboding. Tom clenched his fists, the fear of what they might be dancing around suffocating him. "Do you want to get something to eat?" he suggested, trying to keep the mood light. The last thing he wanted was to lose this moment, to see her retreat back behind those walls. Ashley nodded slowly, and as they began to make their way toward the food stalls, he noticed a flock of children diving for Rusty. The golden retriever seemed to thrive under the attention, tail wagging furiously as he tried to play with everyone at once. Ashley chuckled, her laugh like music, breaking through Tom's tension. "It's like he's the star of the show," she said, her eyes glowing warmly as she watched Rusty. For a brief moment, the laughter of the children, Rusty's energetic antics, and Ashley's smile wrapped around him, and he felt a flicker of hope burn brighter. Could they really take this step forward together? As they approached a food stand, the air filled with the aromas of popcorn and cotton candy. Tom glanced at Ashley, ready to make a silly comment about popcorn being an American classic when he caught sight of her expression. The smile faded, replaced by something more serious. "Dad, what if we could start over?" she said, her voice suddenly quieter, almost swallowed by the bustling environment around them. He turned to her, heart thumping. "What do you mean?" "There's a lot to talk about, things I didn't say, things that happened. But I want to be honest. I just don't know how yet." "Just tell me when you're ready," he replied, a knot tightening in his stomach. "We can find a way to make this work." She nodded, biting her lip as if trying to contain a storm of emotions just below the surface. "Okay, let us eat first," he suggested, hoping to keep things lighter for a moment longer. But as they stepped up to the counter, he couldn't help but notice the tension coiling back between them like a taut spring, ready to snap. After they ordered, Tom studied Ashley's profile. There was sadness there, lurking just out of reach, waiting for an opportunity to rise. It made his chest tighten. The sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting long shadows over the ground, mirroring the shadows of their past. "I want to be there for you, to understand," Tom said finally, desperation creeping back into his voice. "Whatever it is you need me to know." Ashley turned to him, her gaze piercing through his defenses. "I just want to make sure it doesn't break us again, like it did before." In that moment, Tom realized this wasn't just a conversation about the past, it was about their future. The weight of her words resonated deep within him, jarring loose the pieces he kept locked away for too long. "Then let us face it together," he promised. "I'm not going anywhere." As they stood there, tension thick between them, Tom felt the edges of something begin to shift. He had no idea what lay ahead, but he knew they were at a crossroads, and the choice they made next would shape everything. When Ashley's phone buzzed, snapping the moment, she glanced down. Her eyes widened slightly, and confusion swiftly replaced the heaviness of the moment. "What now?" Tom asked, anxiety creeping in again. "It's about that thing I wanted to tell you," she mumbled, her cheeks flushing. "I might need your help sooner than I thought." The revelation hung in the air, heavy and charged, as Tom's mind raced with possibilities. What could possibly come next? Whatever answers were waiting, he felt an urgency building within him. Was this the moment things would shift, or would it deepen the shadows gripping their relationship? Tom watched as Ashley's fingers danced over her phone screen. The way she bit her lip and furrowed her brow suggested this wasn't just a casual message. His heart raced, a mix of anticipation and dread swirling inside him. "Ash?" he urged, trying to pull her back into the moment. "What is it?" She looked up, her eyes wide. "It's from someone I didn't expect to hear from." "Who?" The word slipped out, laced with an urgency that made it hard to breathe. Ashley hesitated, glancing around as if she wanted to shield the conversation from prying ears. "Remember that friend I told you about? The one who moved away last year? She's back in town. And she might know something about my past." Tom's stomach dropped at the mention of past. "What kind of something?" Ashley's gaze fell to the ground, her shoulders slumping. "That's just it. I don't know. But I think it has to do with the things I've been trying to reconcile. The things I was too scared to face." The crowd buzzed around them, laughter and chatter slipping into the background as the weight of Ashley's words sank in. Rusty, sensing the shift in the atmosphere, nudged against her leg, adding a comforting thump against her side. "Okay," Tom said, forcing calm into his voice. "Let's put aside the past for a moment. Maybe we could meet this friend? You don't have to do this alone." Ashley nodded slowly, hope flickering back into her eyes. "I just don't know how she'll react or if she even wants to see me. I've been avoiding so much for so long." Tom took a step closer, letting his warmth radiate into her space. "Then this could be the start of a change. You're not alone in this, Ash. You don't have to go back into those shadows." She paused, absorbing his words. "But what if it just opens old wounds? What if it makes things worse?" His heart tugged at the vulnerability in her voice. "It could. But there's also a chance it can bring closure. Sometimes you need to dig through the dirt to see the light." Ashley seemed to mull that over, her gaze drifting back to the food stand where a carnival worker twisted cotton candy into fluffy spirals. Everything felt surreal, like the world around them was a backdrop to the gravity of their situation. "Okay," she finally said, resolve flickering in her eyes. "Let's do it. Let's meet her." Relief washed over Tom. "Really? You're ready?" "Yeah, but we need to decide how we're going to do this. I don't want to drag you into something messy, Tom." "Too late for that," he joked lightly, but his heart was serious. "I'm already knee-deep." The corners of Ashley's mouth twitch at his attempt to lighten the moment. "All right then, let me just reply. It feels unreal, you know." Tom nodded, recognizing the blend of excitement and fear on her face. There was a shift happening, and he could sense it in the air, a shift towards healing, towards embracing what was lurking beneath the surface. As she typed, he watched her, admiring her determination. That determination made him want to fight for both of them even more, to face whatever storms were brewing. Ashley finished her message, and the tension around them momentarily dissipated. For the first time in a long while, there was a sense of steely resolve in her voice. "Let's see what she says. I guess this is my first step towards something new." Tom reached out, squeezing her hand. "Whatever comes next, I'm with you." But just as she squeezed back, a sudden alarm blared from the nearby stage speakers, announcing an unexpected performance. The crowd began to shift, and an urgency filled the air again, the kind that pulls you in, the kind that makes you feel something big is about to happen. "What is going on?" Tom asked, his curiosity piqued. "I don't know, but it looks like everyone is heading that way," Ashley said, her eyes sparkling with intrigue. As they moved through the throng of people, Tom could feel the anticipation crackling in the air. What if this unexpected performance held answers to questions he didn't even know to ask? What if it changed everything once again? The closer they got to the stage, the louder the excitement grew. And a nagging thought lingered in Tom's mind: what was truly waiting for them around the corner? Could it finally be the turning point they both needed? As they pushed their way through the energetic crowd, Tom and Ashley couldn't help but feel the current of anticipation flowing around them. The vibrant lights of the carnival flickered above, casting a colorful glow on the sea of faces. Laughter bubbled around them, but each buoyant cheer felt distant, like they were in a bubble, isolated from the revelry. Tom's heart thundered in his chest as they reached the front of the stage. A live band had started to play, drawing everyone's attention. The music echoed into the cool evening, a mix of soulful melodies and lively rhythms. Tom could see a crowd of young people swaying together, completely caught up in the moment. They moved like a single entity, united by the music, their worries momentarily forgotten. Ashley grabbed his hand tighter, excitement dancing in her eyes. "Look at that!" she exclaimed, pointing towards the stage. A woman had stepped up to the microphone, her confident stance commanding the crowd. "This is going to be amazing." Tom smiled, trying to share in her enthusiasm, even as his mind wandered back to the weighty conversation they had just had. Could a vibrant performance like this really be a turning point for Ashley? As the first few notes floated through the air, he pushed his doubts aside, allowing the music to meet him halfway. The band began to play a song that felt deeply rooted in nostalgia. The lyrics spoke of heartache and newfound hope, a melody that tugged at Tom's heartstrings. He threw a quick glance at Ashley, and he could see the flicker of recognition on her face. Their eyes locked for a moment, and in that silent exchange, Tom felt the burdens of the past begin to lift. For a fleeting second, he thought of how music often had the power to connect people, to draw distant memories into the light. The vibrations buzzed through them, slowly weaving into their shared experience. He could see Ashley beginning to sway to the rhythm, a small smile gracing her lips. It was then he noticed how the music seemed to envelop them, as if calling forth all those suppressed feelings just waiting to breathe. As the song reached a crescendo, the crowd cheered, and Ashley raised her arms, lost in the moment. Tom watched her, mesmerized. It was incredible to see her so free, like she was shedding layers of hesitation right there on the dance floor. Maybe this was what she needed, the thrill of the present to overshadow the shadows of the past. But then, a sharp crash of cymbals shattered their euphoria. The energetic performer on stage announced a surprise, a special guest. The crowd erupted with excitement. "Get ready, because we have someone who is here to make this night unforgettable." She motioned towards the wings of the stage. Tom felt a prick of apprehension. Who could it be? A part of him wanted to retreat, to shield Ashley from whatever might come next. The crowd surged forward, pushing them closer to the stage. As the figure stepped into the spotlight, Tom's heart sank. It was a familiar profile, a face he hadn't seen in years. Suddenly, the atmosphere crackled with electric tension. It was Ashley's old friend. "Oh no!" Ashley's voice dropped to a whisper. She didn't look ready for this confrontation. The music played louder, the cheers surrounding them blending into a chaotic rhythm. Tom turned to Ashley, searching her eyes for reassurance, but he only saw shock reflecting back. As her friend approached the microphone, the crowd fell silent, and Tom recognized the pivotal moment unfolding before them. Would Ashley take this opportunity to confront her past, or would she allow fear to pull her back once again? In that instant, everything hung in the balance. What would happen next could redefine everything. "Ash," he said, his voice barely cutting through the sudden silence. "It's all going to be okay. You can do this." But before he could say anything more, Ashley was already stepping forward, her breath hitching in her throat. The world around them faded, leaving just the two of them caught in the whirlwind of emotions. "Can you believe this?" she said. Softly, eyes wide. "She's really here." As the first syllables escaped her friend's mouth, Tom held his breath. Would this be the moment of reckoning, or would it deepen the wounds that had taken so long to heal? Only time would tell. The crowd's anticipation was palpable, every pair of eyes glued to the stage. Ashley took a tentative step forward, her body barely moving as she fought the tide of emotions rushing through her. Tom felt her struggle. He'd seen her locked in a battle like this before, torn between the past and the need to reclaim her strength. As the spotlight illuminated Ashley's friend, memories flooded Tom's mind. Laughter shared, secrets told, times that felt like a different lifetime. But those memories didn't carry the weight of the years since they had parted ways, years filled with pain, loss, and a silence that had grown too heavy to bear. Ashley's face was pale, her lips pressed into a thin line. Those bright eyes he adored were shimmering with unspilled tears. The crowd seemed to hold its breath alongside her, waiting for the moment that might either heal or reopen old wounds. The guest on stage began speaking, her voice warm yet commanding. "It's so good to see all of you. I've missed this place," she said, igniting the crowd's enthusiasm. But Tom caught the way Ashley shrank back, her excitement slipping like sand through fingers. Why did she have to come back now? Ashley whispered, almost choking on the words. Tom slung his arm around her shoulders, pulling her closer. "You're stronger than this. remember why you came tonight? He tried to remind her that moments like this could be an opportunity to reclaim who she was. Yet fear loomed heavy in the air, weighing down on them both. As her friend continued to talk, offering heartfelt stories that made the audience laugh and smile, Tom could feel Ashley wrestle inside. He watched her shoulders tense and then relax as she fought the memories threatening to break through. She was courageous but also so very human. Ash, maybe this is a chance. He hesitated, unsure, but pressed on anyway. Maybe it's a chance to say what you didn't tell before. Her gaze flickered towards him, uncertainty clouding her expression. It was like she needed an answer to a question she hadn't even asked yet, the kind that required plunging into the depths of her vulnerability. But her friend, unaware of the internal struggle taking place in front of her, locked eyes with Ashley and smiled. And I hope to reconnect with those I've missed, especially you. The words hung in the air, resonating like a bell. A ripple of tension coursed through the crowd. Ashley froze, the blood draining from her face. Her friend had just thrown open a door that had long been shut, exposing the raw edges of old scars. Tom's heart sank as he recognized the shift. This was more than a small reunion, this was a call to confront their shared history, to unravel the knot they thought time had frozen in place. What if I can't? She stammered, shaking her head as if to dismiss the challenge. What if I'm not ready? You won't know until you try, he said, squeezing her hand lightly. But I'll be right here. You don't have to face her alone. With a deep breath, Ashley looked back to the stage. Her friend's laughter rang out, infectious and bright. In that moment, something flickered within Ashley. Determination? Hope? Tom couldn't be sure, but it ignited a flicker of hope in him too. Ash, he said softly, what if this is your moment? What if you find the closure you didn't know you were searching for? Before Ashley could respond, the crowd erupted in a roar, their voices clamoring for more. Tom believed in her strength and, even if she didn't, he hoped she would discover it in that moment. But as Ashley took a breath and stepped forward, a sudden chill danced up Tom's spine. The laughter had faded into a murmur, leaving behind an emptiness that whispered doubt. What if Ashley couldn't find her voice? What if the past drowned her in insecurities once again? As she teetered on the edge of decision, Tom's heart raced, his thoughts spinning. The night had taken a turn he could never have predicted, and now he held his breath, waiting to see if this would lead to healing or heartache. What would Ashley choose in the face of her past? As the crowd's buzz grew, the moment hung suspended in time, ready to cascade into an unforeseen outcome. Would she step forward and confront what was lost, or would she retreat back into the safety of silence? With each passing second, Ashley stood frozen, the weight of the crowd's gaze both comforting and suffocating. Tom watched her, wishing he could lift the burden she carried. He knew this wasn't just about a reunion, it was about grappling with the ghosts of their past. With the audience now buzzing with excitement, every cheer echoed in the hollow space in her heart. Ashley! Her friend's voice called out again, pulling her further from the depths of her turmoil. The warmth and familiarity of that voice tugged at her memories, threats of vulnerability crawled up her spine. There was laughter and joy shared between them, but there stood shadows, a veil of silence she'd hidden behind for too long. Ow, my heart, Tom muttered under his breath, feeling a mix of pride and worry for her. She was on the precipice of something momentous, though he felt as if he could slip into despair just watching. Ash, it's just her, he urged quietly, she's here for you. It's time to reclaim that piece of yourself. He squeezed her hand again, hoping his warmth would seep down into her resolve. But Ashley still hesitated, inching backward, her breath shallow. The spotlight felt too hot on her face, a glaring reminder of all she had lost. The crowd's laughter roared again, filling the air with a palpable buzz. Yet inside her heart, the silence was deafening. It was a moment of chaos. The friend on stage, radiant and vivacious, seemed to convey an unspoken call, join me. With every passing laugh, Ashley felt torn, wanting to leap forward and also to hide back into her own world. "What if?" she whispered, glancing up at Tom, desperation lacing her voice. "What if you soar?" he replied firmly, his eyes steady and reassuring. "What if you rediscover your voice there, in front of her?" As Tom searched her eyes, he could see glimpses of that vibrant woman Ashley once was. The courageous friend, the fierce protector. But more importantly, he saw a spark of hope, a flicker of choice. And then it happened. Taking a deep breath, Ashley gathered her strength. The crowd faded, and all that mattered was that connection, the moment she felt brave enough to rise above the memories that haunted her. The years of silence fell away, and brushed against her cheek was a breeze that inspired choice. She stepped forward, one hesitant step at a time, her heart racing. Tom held his breath, his heart kept time with each of her strides towards the stage. She was becoming. He could feel it. Ashley. Her friend beamed, her arms open wide. The tension in the room crackled to life like electricity, reverberating through every heart present. Just as Ashley reached the edge of the stage, she faltered again, a sudden wave of doubt crashing over her. But, shaking it off, she took a step up and breathed in deeply, ready to speak, ready to confront, perhaps even forgive. "Stop!" someone in the crowd gasped, a flare of energy igniting in the air. Tom turned to see it was a stranger, grasping a phone and pointing at the stage. He felt his own heartbeat spike at the unexpected interruption. But it mattered not. This was about Ashley. Whatever was to happen next, he hoped she would persevere. What did she have to say? Would she break free or be imprisoned by the fear she harbored? As a hush fell over the crowd, it felt as though time itself had slowed, each heartbeat a reminder that this was her moment, yet chaos lurked like a shadow. And in that electrifying suspension, Tom found himself wondering. The question looming now was not what Ashley would say, but rather, could she find the courage to embrace whatever lay ahead? Ashley took a steadying breath, the air heavy with anticipation. The crowd held their collective breath, their eyes searching her face for a hint of what was to come. Unsure if she could navigate the tempest brewing inside her, she focused on the warmth of her friend's embrace waiting just 3 steps away. "Just take a deep breath, Ash," Tom whispered, his voice like a lighthouse cutting through her fog. "You've got this. You're not alone anymore." Determined, she squared her shoulders and raised her gaze to meet her friend's expectant smile. Those familiar features anchored her, grounding her in the reality of the moment. Instinctively, she stepped into the light. The applause and laughter faded to a low hum, the energy shifting from chaotic to melty and soft, wrapping around her like an old blanket. The words stumbled out of her mouth, but she shook her head to dispel the nerves coiling tightly in her stomach. "I'm back." The elation in the crowd's cheers washed over her, buoying her up towards the moment she'd been avoiding for too long. She took another breath, this time deeper. The memories of laughter, of moments shared, and of pain slipped away piece by piece. "I have missed you all. So much has changed, but I realize now, I need to reconnect. I need my heart back." Tom felt his heart swell, a wave of pride filling his chest. He could see the shift happening within Ashley. Her light was flickering back to life, fueled by her own honesty. Each sentence she spoke tore down parts of the wall she had built around herself over the years. "I've gone through the darkness," she continued, allowing herself to be vulnerable. "But I'm here standing in front of you today. I've decided to choose courage, not fear. I want to share my journey with you." The crowd shifted, the murmur resonating like gentle waves. Tom noticed a tear escape Ashley's eye, but it shimmered with hope rather than sorrow. In this raw display of emotion, she was uncovering layers he had rarely seen. It was as if those layers which covered her were unraveling, allowing the radiant woman he always believed existed to finally shine through. "Please don't think that I don't value our connections," Ashley added, her voice rising with newfound determination. These years of silence haven meant I didn't care. I do. I care so much, but I was lost in a silence that felt safer than confronting my fears. Tom caught the ongoing nods of agreement among the audience. They were with her every step of the way. They could feel the impact of her words, like a unifying bond forming between them. And then she took a leap, reaching deeper into her heart. I want to rebuild what was lost. I want us to create new memories together. With each phrase, her courage seemed to bloom. The applause grew, transforming into a thunderous roar that rippled through her. But then, from the very front, the stranger who had interrupted earlier spoke again, his voice trembling with intensity. Ashley, my sister was missing you. She never stopped looking for you. You have no idea the impact your absence has had on her life. Tom's heart dropped. He could see Ashley freeze, processing this new wave of emotion as recognition flickered across her features. Would this revelation strengthen her resolve or erode her newfound strength? As she locked eyes with the stranger, uncertainty gripped her for just a second. But beneath it all, Tom could sense her determination flare again. What awaited Ashley now? What kind of emotional reckoning lay on the horizon as she grappled with both the past and this unexpected connection? Every eye in the room was on her, filled with anticipation. Would she lean into this moment of truth? Ashley inhaled deeply, processing the unexpected words from the stranger. The air around her felt electric, each heartbeat thundering in her ears. She recognized the name, memories rushed past in a blur. My sister, her voice trembled, caught by a fleeting wave of disbelief. The stranger took a step closer. She never stopped searching for you, never lost hope. The weight of those words hung heavily, wrapping around Ashley like a warm embrace, but also pushing back against her fears. I didn't know, she finally managed, her heart racing as the realization settled within her. I thought I was alone in this. Tom's grip on her hand tightened. He could feel at this moment could either forge a new path of healing or crack her resolve further. You're not alone anymore, he whispered, his voice steady and grounding. Ashley looked back at her friend, whose supportive smile seemed to encourage this swirling vortex of emotions. What do I do now? She asked, her voice wavering on the edge of breaking. Face it, Tom urged softly, pressing his palm against hers, urging her forward into the light of truth. You need to face it to heal. She turned, still trembling but filled with a flicker of unwavering bravery. The stranger's sincere eyes reflected warmth and understanding, lifting her spirit. Okay, she breathed. I want to reconnect. I need to reconcile before it's too late. The audience erupted in applause, a surge of encouragement filling the air. In this overwhelming cocoon of support, Ashley felt her doubts begin to melt away. She stepped closer to the stranger, heart racing, ready to confront the pieces of herself she had cast aside for so long. I never meant to disappear, Ashley admitted, emotions crashing through her like waves. I was scared and lost, but now it's time to be brave. The stranger's eyes glimmered with compassion. It's okay. We all felt the void. Let us start fresh, together. With that, Ashley stepped forward, surrendering to her vulnerability. She enveloped her sister's friend in a warm embrace, the gesture more profound than words could convey. The audience roared back with applause, but in that moment, there was only Ashley and the connection she had missed. Then she turned back to Tom, determination etched in her features. Thank you for staying by my side throughout this, even when it felt impossible. Tom smiled, his heart full. You've found your voice. Own it. In that transitional heartbeat, something inside Ashley shifted like autumn leaves releasing from their branches, every shadow of doubt fell away. The audience watched, captivated, as she stepped fully into the light, ready to share her truth. I want us to be better, she announced softly yet powerfully. For us, for them, for the love that deserves to flourish. Rusty, alert and wide-eyed, stood at her feet, waiting for affirmation as if understanding the gravity of the moment, ready to support her just as Tom had. It seemed like the universe was urging them all to take more steps toward healing, reminding them that redemption was possible. Tom joined her side, his warmth enveloping her in a protective shield as the energy around them shifted from anxious anticipation to unconditional support. "Each step, Ashley, one step at a time," he murmured, looking deep into her eyes, reiterating that they were no longer alone in this journey. Together, under the glow of the stage lights, Ashley leaned into this newfound strength, her voice ready to fill the silenced void that had existed for far too long. "Together, we can write a new story," she said, shaking off remnants of fear. "A story of hope, resilience, and unbreakable bonds." As the crowd erupted with cheers once more, Ashley realized that this was the turning point she had longed for, the moment where past wounds had finally begun to heal, and a new chapter bloomed with possibilities. And with that realization, she felt the warmth flood back into her heart. It was a feeling of fullness blossoming from her commitment to move forward, not just for herself but for her family, her future, and the newfound connections. Blossoming all around. "You ready, Rusty?" She chuckled, as if speaking to the canine companion felt as natural as breathing. The golden retriever barked eagerly, tail wagging with approval. As she stepped away from the stage, the joyous noise wrapped around her like a warm embrace. Ashley glanced back at Tom, their eyes locking in a moment filled with unspoken gratitude. This was just the beginning of their journey, but together, they were ready to step into the unknown, ready to seek out the healing that awaited them. Together, they took that first step forward as a family, hand in paw, heart to heart, their hope set upon the open road ahead, knowing that real love could always find its way home. Don't wait not even one more second. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that touch your heart and inspire change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this positive energy. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation today. This is the moment to show your support and be part of this powerful journey.